Well, I know we're live now. I'm sure Michael will show up here in a minute, but I've got to tell you, I've had a very interesting day because I got word today and I got a drawing that shows that Doug Erb is exactly on the right path. He will deliver us. He will deliver us artwork for the musical map of Missouri on Monday. And so I just thought right now, while I've got a minute, I should just talk to you a little bit about Lou Whitney because Lou Whitney and his rock and roll toupee is the first piece of artwork for the musical map. And if you didn't know Lou Whitney, you missed out. In fact, I was on the phone talking to somebody today, and there literally was no one like Lou Whitney. He was so funny. He was such a big character, always had something fun to say. I remember one time I was down at the studio with my friend Christy Strimmel. Slewfoot. This is long after Slewfoot. This is about 5 years ago or 6 years. No, he's been gone 6 years, so it's longer than that. But it was closer. It's probably about 2013, I guess. And and he was standing there. He was talking to Lloyd Hicks, and Lou and Lou wanted a little less cymbals on the track, and Lou just goes, "You never get arrested for playing the cymbals too little," and that's just a perfect Lou. That's just a perfect idea of what Lou meant to everyone and everything. He always brought the most funny thing that somebody could say, and he always had the right timing. It's one of these things where you have to realize how many years he must have worked to just have been that on point and that interesting all the time because that was Lou. And and there's Mike. Here we go. And now I can quit vamping and turn it over to Mike. How are you, Mike? Well, that is fantastic. I was just on here indicating that our first piece of artwork for the musical map of Missouri will be ready on Monday. I'm so excited because that features Lou Whitney and the rock and roll toupee, which is what Lou Whitney called ball cap. And I started talking about just everything he said was always so cutting and so funny. He had so much knowledge about everything. And it's just so funny to me because I got to introduce somebody else to him today. He's just somebody that just stands in my memory as one of the biggest, just like there's just so much to love about Lou Whitney. And so I just want to say that because he was a one of a kind character. I know you got to meet him. And so do you have any other memories about him?
Who's that?
Lou Whitney. We talked about him a little bit yesterday.
Yeah, he was just a kind man. He was just a one of a kind. Yeah, he was. Yeah, I mean,
he liked everybody.
When he'd show up where I was just amazed. He was the type of guy I was amazed that he showed up where I was. It's like, right. Oh my gosh, can't lose her.
And the thing about him was, if you walked in a room with him, he made you feel like you were the most important person in the world. And that is something that not many people have, but Lou did all the time.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, he was a good guy. He's one of those guys that you just wish you could have got to known and hung out with him a lot.
Right. And I was lucky enough to get to do that. And that's part of why I'm just such a big fan, because he was, the whole time I knew him, he was absolutely the same. He was just so big and so funny and so wonderful. Every conversation, every time I spent with him was just a treasure. And so I love having him be the first piece of artwork. I'm so excited. But how was your day?
I've been good. I've been to the wound doctor. That's part of my life now until I get back to performing. Right. And the doctor today said, he said, wow. He said the wound was looking great.
Great.
I said, what are you doing down there with those little utensils? And he goes, I'm cleaning out the junk. I go, there's junk in my foot? He goes, well, I go, does it mean there's like bad stuff, like dead stuff, And he's like, no. He goes, you don't have any dead stuff down there. None. Yay. It's all he said it's all growing, it's all working, it's repairing itself.
Wonderful.
So
That's
yeah,
great.
that was really nice to hear. And I did that and stopped by my doctor that I was at yesterday. I swear, my life is kind of half of the day's doctor visits, and the other part is with Dale Wiley, and it's
I love it. I hope you do too.
no. And I recently changed phone services. I'd been with AT&T forever, and I went with T-Mobile. And I had people, oh, don't do that, do the Verizon, and T-Mobile's awful and all. Well, if you watch TV, T-Mobile does a lot of marketing now.
They sure do.
And I've always been one. Well, I think they're marketing all the pink stuff they do. That's awesome marketing. Yeah, it catches your eye. And I've always been one of these. I'm a leader, not a follower. And it's I've been one, if somebody says don't do that, that won't work, or this, that just pushes me to do it. I mean, so as far as T-Mobile, I wanted to change. I didn't like my customer service with AT&T, and I'd been with them forever. And so I changed, but the store here in Branson, it had got, right after I got signed up, it got shut down due to the pandemic, and I couldn't find out, and I was losing track of who was signing me up and getting it all done, and it's just been a long deal. So they're back open now. The manager, his name's Cody, he called me and said, help me come by the store. And I got there, and the gentleman that originally hooked me up, his name's West, phenomenal customer service guy, just a nice guy. And he saw me come in today, and he's like, oh my gosh. He goes, I remember it hasn't been that long ago that we had to help you out of the car and help you in the door and help you over here and get you a chair. He goes, you're doing awesome. So, and Cody was really cool. And then Cody, we were talking, and I told him, I got put in a hospital for 30 days. I've never sat anywhere for 30 days of my life. But anyway.
Right.
And I told him, I said, there was a guy, and he used to play bass for Presley's, and he wrote a song called Praise His Name. Okay. And, and it went, part of it was, and when your back's against the wall, praise his name. Nothing's too tall. And it's just about God. It's about being on his ball team. And I told this guy today, I can't tell you how many nights alone in that hospital where I hadn't seen a nurse since 8 o'clock at night, and it's now 3 in the morning. Right. It's just me and walls. And I'd lay there in the bed with my hands up, and I'd just sing that song.
Well, good.
And I'd say, I'd pray. It's nothing to be ashamed of. I'd say, God, I said, we're going to get through this.
Right.
And Cody, this guy that I was telling this now, the end of this story was, he said, I usually don't mix politics or religion in business, Yes. He said that song was written by my dad, Bruce Haynes.
Really?
I go, that's who I want. I've always wanted to meet him. He goes, that's my dad. He's a pastor. So awesome. I think they have a church called Lighthouse or something like that. It's out in Hollister, right out by College of the Ozarks.
Right.
And he told me the story, which I kind of knew, where the guy had came to his wits end one night and just fell over in the floor, and didn't know what he was going to do. Just kind of reached the end, and there was a pad and a piece of paper there, and he wrote this song.
Wow.
And how is that? I'm in talking to a guy that's getting me on my T-Mobile thing back to par, and he did really good. He gave me a big giant credit on the bill. He said, you've went through so much heck, this is going to get wiped out for you. That's going to help you out. And so that was just and then I came home and I felt bad about my mom. She was all dressed to go to the doctor with me this morning. All she does is sit in the car. And I told her to stay here with the doggy.
Right.
So I came home and I got her and I got the dog and I got in the van and we just went. I had to go back over to the T-Mobile store for something. So we just did a little drive. And then I was like, oh my gosh, I got to get back to the computer or either stop somewhere and do it on my phone because the show's getting ready to happen.
Right.
And my mom, you'd laugh. She was so funny because we live right in the middle of Branson, period. And anytime you see those things on TV advertising Presley's and it shows Presley signing off, Presley's music show.
Right.
I can take my finger and put it on the screen, and go, there's my house right there, right in its backyard. But my mom, she said, if you didn't have to be on that computer thing with Dale, we could have went up to Andy's and had some Andy's custom. I said, well, if you're craving it, I'll take you after a while. So she got to get out. She goes, it's a pretty day. It's kind of cold, but it's pretty. I said, it's real pretty. And so it's been a good day all around. Every day I wake up thinking I'm going to fix my little broadcast area. And so you're going to be so surprised someday when I click in and it's like, and it's all fixed like I'm actually an entertainer somewhere, like backstage somewhere. But I haven't got that done, and it's been good. Yeah, have you had a good day?
I've had a very good day with learning that I'm going to have the artwork for the first piece of art for the musical map of Missouri. I mean, it's been fantastic. Everything I get to talk to people. All this stuff is just come together so beautifully, and I think that our stuff is too. Because look at those numbers. People are watching this show. They really are, and that is so cool.
Here's my mom calling from down the hallway. Hello, Mom. I'm on the computer with Dale.
Hello, Dale. Hello, Mom.
Yeah, her message was, well, I didn't want anything. My mom, she's 89, so she has maybe one person or sister that she can text to.
Right.
I've put all our important phone numbers on the favorites where you just touch it. She's old school. Still got to go over and punch the number in.
Oh, yeah.
And several times a day, she punches somebody else's number. And, I've already had to put her on a time limit on the remote control for the TV because I go in there and I see the TV's just going flash, 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 channel, 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 another channel, another channel, another Netflix. What are you doing on there? And she sets, I guess maybe at 89 I will too, and she just hits the button. Bam, 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 bam. So she's I told her she has a TV in her room. If she wants to just play with the remote, go in there. Be good for her.
You're a good son.
But it's I watched this show last night. I don't know. My mom watches it and she just laughs. I mean, she just thinks it's funny. And I watched it and I learned one thing, but I already knew it, that I talk way too much. Yeah, I learned that, but
that's fine.
Well, I already knew that, and it's as I told you yesterday, I've just got a million different ideas of things going on in my head all the time.
That's why we want to tap into you. You do great. You've got a great mind, and you've got so much experience in the business. And I'm having fun just talking to you and working on our idea. It's so very cool.
Yeah, it's I know most people that move to this town in the music industry, or they move here pretty much looking for an audition so they can get in a show.
Right.
And that's everything I didn't move here for.
Right.
Not that I'm against that, but I feel like I have as good as ideals as some of the people that are.
Certainly do. And that's the thing. Knowing how to position yourself to be in the position to stage the show. That's what we're trying to do.
Well, you know, the person I talk about, that one marketing guy that
right.
I wish he would come to his senses, but he used to always tell me this show, you know, we'll do this thing and it might say something like from Nashville, Michael Reed's You're the Ticket.
Right.
And I'm kind of like so vain, you know. I'm like, nah, do we got to do it like that? He goes, you do it like that because with social marketing and media,
Right.
you get people to know you or who you are. Well, we've heard him and he was on this thing. So we need to look up and see what he's been up to. He goes, and then we end up having your website and that just shows all the different things that you've been up to the last 25 years. He goes, and that's how you get people go, this guy's done a lot of things. Let's pull in, check out this ticket and go to this thing. That's that. And I think I'm not patting myself on the shoulder, but I've been around entertainers my whole life. I think I'm a very good marketable person. I think my biggest, if you make a list of 1 to 10 and 10 is the best thing you do and 1's the worst, I think the worst thing I probably do is sing. I don't get off. No, I mean, I sing in key and I sing fine, but I'd like to just be out. I'd like to be able to go out and sing Hallelujah like Bon Jovi does and blow Bon Jovi away. That would be cool. Yes. But you know what? If you were there, then you'd be running around in your head thinking, well, I'm this great singer. I'm this great singer. And before you know it, you'd be singing in the corner at the barbecue stand,
Exactly. And it's funny how different it is between the bottom and the top, because in entertainment, I just find out that the people that just stick with it are the main people that make it. The ones that they're good, they're gifted, but they stick with it.
I think you're right. I mean, I think it's, we've all seen a lot of people that are just really, really good, and they just and they don't have that perseverance or whatever that word is to just go out. That one, and they just don't have that to go out and try it. You know me, I haven't watched any of the inaugural stuff because that's definitely turned into not my thing, but I've seen bits and pieces. Now, let me tell you, from the entertainment standpoint, Garth Brooks should have never sung Amazing Grace.
All right.
I mean, we're in such a political world. Even though Garth is not a conservative Republican type guy.
Right.
He's just the opposite. But that was all done because they assume because he's got a cowboy hat and he's a country guy that's what he is. So we'll have the country guy sing the religious song. And I'm like, but that's in so many walks of life. Things are just, everybody they think they got it figured out.
Did you watch the thing I did with Warren Zanes last night?
The what?
The thing with Warren Zanes I did last night?
No, because it'd take a long time for me to think of why I didn't. Some reason I didn't get to watch.
No. But the thing is, he talked about in the show about just how many views Johnny Cash should turn on their heads, and just like how many different areas he covered and how completely, it is all my deal because I love Johnny Cash, but just talking about how many things that you would have thought would be a certain way about him were not that way at all. And that's what's so cool about that interview, and everybody should go listen to that, definitely.
Well, I guess basically when Johnny Cash came on the scene, he was just like a shot of adrenaline. He was just something different that was like, that caught everybody's eye. And that's what you got to have. And it's, I told people before, you can go out and be a performer and put on moose house shoes and some antlers. And if you're marketed right, you're the one that gets the crowd and people love you. I proved it in Mountain Home, Arkansas at a place one time because I'm just a goofball. On our last break at a Holiday Inn, I'd go up to my room, and I came down one night with moose house shoes with big antlers on them and a hat, kind of like Wally World or whatever, or the Chevy Chase thing with the big antlers, and just dressed goofy. And I sang the Three Dog Night song, "Mama Told Me Not to Come." Well, that was a mistake because now every night I was ever at Mountain Home at this club, according to the 25 people that came up to me from 9 to 10 to 11 o'clock at night, I had to come out at midnight with the house shoes and the antlers and do this thing. And that's just proof. People they like to be entertained. They love it, I mean, it's I as I said, I'm starting to get real antsy because I'm not doing anything. I can't really be out doing a whole lot right now anyway with my foot. I mean, I guess I just take the doctor's compliment that, oh my gosh. Like he said last week, we took a little back sit, but you was out taking the dog to the vet and doing this and this and this and this. You were real busy up on your feet. He goes, this week we far surpassed that. We shot way ahead of that.
That's awesome.
So I thought it was great, and they don't know what to think of me there. I told them about my other doctor gave me, because I'm supposed to tell them any type of medicine that I might. I said my other doctor gave me this little prescription thing. It's kind of like a Pepto-Bismol or Imodium D or something like that. It's just a little thing that she goes. I said sometimes I go out to eat and it's like, well, excuse me, I'll be back in a minute. And I go, a lot of people run into those problems. So the people at the wound place today, they're like, now you told us that was that pill that your doctor gave you, right? I go, she said, if I want to take it, I can, or I don't have to take it.
Right.
I go, but I'm going to go back by and check and make sure I go, and as on my way out the door, I go, I think it might be a birth control pill. And they were just throwing papers and laughing, going, we don't know what to think. And sometimes I wish I wasn't this way. I wish I didn't talk all the time. But
well, then let me take a second and say that my podcast about the miracle story of my dad, which my dad was the biggest Johnny Cash fan in the world, like seriously was,
really,
like a mid-60s, concept album, huge Johnny Cash fan. And that's on heroesandmiracles.org, as well as Tiffany Brown's wonderful book. And so I just think that everybody needs a little more publicity, just saying that is a great podcast. Next episode, next Wednesday, and just really enjoying all the stuff we have to do.
Well, sometimes I wonder why we all get wrapped up in music and different artists.
Right.
And I think, is that a waste of time someday? Or are we going to just go, what did I spend all my time?
Not a chance.
But I'm like, no, music pretty much makes the world go round. It changes your mood. It brings you up. It brings you down. It's your dad. I never knew he was big Johnny Cash. My dad, I don't think he was any big fan of anybody necessarily. He just liked anything.
Dad and his brother Jerry were the biggest Johnny Cash fans. And the coolest thing about my dad was he got to see Johnny Cash several times, but at the Ozarks Jubilee, he and Uncle Jerry, they both just stood out and waited for him to come over there and see him. And Johnny Cash came over there and they said, do you have any advice for us? And Johnny Cash just said, keep dogging the boys. And I just think that's just the greatest advice ever. And so Johnny Cash.
That's good. And it's good that somebody like that could say something. Now, I have a friend in Nashville, Ira Dean, who is the bass player for Trick Pony. He's a good friend, John Carter Cash, and they do stuff all the time. So I would all the time hear Johnny Cash stories. I have a friend over by West Plains, and she's a good singer. She always told me she sings all the old. She loves June Carter Cash and Johnny Cash, and I always thought, yeah, okay, whatever. And finally, one day, she sent me a tape of her singing, and for that old stuff, she's really, really good. She'd be somebody, and she's got all kinds of Johnny and June stories. But it's a shame, there'll never be another Johnny Cash. It's like Elvis. There'll never be another Elvis. I don't care who tries.
And that's good. There doesn't need to be. Johnny did it as well as anybody could ever do that. But that's the same for Mike Reed. There's only one Mike Reed as well.
Well, it's true, and it's although I'm getting older now, the other person I talk about, the marketing gentleman,
Right.
he told me, a year or so ago, he said, "You're still very marketable." He goes, "I've already got some ideas for some of your original songs."
Right.
And he goes, "We live in a video age." He said, "I got some ideas for the video for these songs."
Right.
And he goes, "Just because you're your age," he goes, "you would think, wow, I'm not going to do anything in the business as far as in the record industry and things like that go." But he goes, music's always reinventing itself.
Oh,
And
yeah.
who's to say there won't be a wave of older artists coming in? I mean, there was that country band that's called Midland,
Right.
and these guys came out like a year or two ago. They all have red guitars. They all have long hair and the big Fu Manchu mustache. I mean, they all look like they're right out of the 70s, out of a truck stop country band. And that's their look they went for. And they're very good. But it's so music's a fascinating thing. It's yeah, Johnny Cash. So what's this thing that you're getting the artwork?
Well, I came up with this idea. I've always had this idea for about 7 or 8 years, and that is to do a musical map of Missouri. And the thing that started this whole thing was that I found out that, and the strangest thing ever, that Patsy Montana, this old country artist, I love her because I love everything country music. And she's from our Anderson, Missouri. There's just a sign beside the road that says home of Patsy Montana. And I just thought, what are all these people that we don't even know about? And so my idea was to create T-shirts and to create ideas, create things. And the idea about the pandemic is it just shows me how much of a great Kickstarter idea this is to help kind of raise money for musicians and just really try to bring the musical history of Missouri out in one place.
Yeah, I think you're doing great work. I mean, it's
that's so fun, and that's what's so fun. And on Monday, when I have the artwork, it's going to be so fun because this is the first piece of artwork for the musical map. I bought that domain too.
that's really why I think you're doing wonders. And actually, although you've been doing this for a while, you're just started. I think with everything you're doing, I think the stuff with me and you doing,
yes.
I think there's going to be one day where all of a sudden we get on here and you go, oh my gosh, I think an explosion just happened today.
I think that's happening right now is what I think. It's happening in this whole project. And I'm just so happy. Lori Ritter is helping me with the musical map. And I got on the phone today with people. It's so fun to do all this stuff. I'm just loving. I'm just kind of creating my own life. Having the most fun thing ever.
Yeah, I wish you'd get some more contacts about me. People, wanting to talk and all, because, as I've said, a lot of people grow up doing one thing and that's what they do.
Oh yeah.
And they grow old and they retire and they live the rest of their life. I grew up doing 50 or 60 things. So I know quite a bit about a lot of stuff. It don't mean that it's right, but a lot of stuff people think they know isn't necessarily right. But I know enough to talk to people about things. And I think that's kind of where, like David Fee down in Pigeon Forge had said, right. Michael, do you ever stay on the same subject for 30 seconds or a minute?
Not a chance, David.
And I said, well, that's not bad. And he said, well, no. I said, I'm just, my brain, is constantly going about stuff. And it drives me nuts too, but I can't, if I changed it, I just wouldn't be me,
Right.
So.
And that's what's so fun. We're almost at the end here of the 30-minute segment. So I'm just making sure to cut this off. But I just am so impressed by all the stuff going on and so happy for all the people that are involved. And Doug Erb's doing the artwork, and it's just going to be so awesome.
Oh my gosh, you know what I got to do? Get my Christmas stuff down. Yeah, okay. No, all my Christmas stuff in my house is half down.
Right.
with my foot like this. I can't get on a ladder. I can't do this and that. I told Mom, just bear with it. It'll be
done by Valentine's Day, I'm sure. All right, let's get up here. This is a big screen, so let me get it up
There's
here.
30 minutes. Are you on a computer?
I am.
Okay.
A very wide screen computer. Yes, I sure am. Let's get on here and see where it goes. All right, there we are, and there we're off.